Let the House come back to order. I believe we are ready to go to the calendar, and the Chairman of Appropriations is here at the well. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let me thank y'all for giving us Sunday up, but I will say this. The LBO staff, the Appropriations Committee members, myself, have been working diligently and staying up here pretty late at night trying to come up with a final solution. We do not have it at this time. However, I do see light at the end of the tunnel, but I just don't know how long the tunnel is right now. But we today are going to go and we want to recommit some of the bills that we have not finalized. Then after doing that, we will commence to taking up bills that we have reached an agreement on. So that's basically the program for the day from the Appropriations Committee. So at this, in these bills that, as we spoke earlier, we've included health insurance, which was total was about $24 million. ITS fees for agencies. We put 6-month pay plans for state employees, teacher pay raises in here. We restored cuts through general funds, EEF for education priorities, as well as capital expense funds for repairs and renovations of agencies. And that's, everybody says money, well, that's the needs that we felt needed those additional revenues. So I just want to give you a little synopsis. We'll be around, but if there's no questions on what we have done, I would like to commence taking up the agenda.
You're recognized, gentlemen.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, we'll go to item number 1, House Bill. Oh, okay. Oh God, I really almost messed up bad. Okay, first thing we're going to do is recommit bills, and I think the clerk of the House has a list, but I'm going to go over this for members. We're going to recommit number 2 would be House Bill 1379. Number 4, House Bill 1381. Number 7, House Bill 1384. Number 10, House Bill 1387. Number 15, House Bill 1392. 14 would be House... 16, House Bill 1393. Number 21, House Bill 1398. 22, House Bill 1399, 23, House Bill 1460, 100, right, 1400. I'd marked over it. Next would be House Bill 30, 1412, 31, House Bill 1413, 32, House Bill 1414. And that is all the House bills, and I would like to take those up in a block vote.
Gentleman from Forest, Mr. Watson, for what purpose?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to move that the House take up all of the motions to bills to recommit in a block vote.
Thank you, gentlemen. If there's no objection to the gentleman's motion, we will take these up in a block that pleases the chairman. Okay, could we take up the House as one block and then the Senate as one block? Yes, sir. I believe that Madam Clerk requests that way. I think the Madam Clerk would like to do it that way. Yes, yes. So take up the House bills that have been recommitted on this vote. Move final adoption. Okay, the gentleman's motion is to recommit these bills that he's just gone through on the calendar, these House appropriations bills. They'll be taken up in a block. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion to recommit indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Okay, let's go to the Senate bills.
Be number 33, Senate Bill, Senate Bill 33, 2904. 34 would be 2905. 35 would be Senate Bill 2906. 36 would be Senate Bill 2907. 37 would be Senate Bill 2908. Next would be Senate Bill, was it? Yeah, I just want to make sure. That'd be 38 would be Senate Bill 2909. 39 would be Senate Bill 2910. 40 will be Senate Bill 2911. 41 would be Senate Bill 2912. 42 would be Senate Bill 2913. 43, Senate Bill 2914. 44 would be Senate Bill 2915. 45 would be Senate Bill number 2916. 47 would be Senate Bill 2918. 48 would be Senate Bill 2919. Next would be 51, would be Senate Bill 2922. 52 is Senate Bill 2923. Next would be 57, 29, is it 2928. And then 59 is 2942. 60 is 2944. Then next would be 64, Senate Bill 2948. 65, Senate Bill 2949. 67, Senate Bill 2951. 69, 2953. And that is the list of the Senate bills that I ask that we take up and block for recommit. If there's no questions, I move that we do that.
Gentleman's taking these up in a block, and his motion is to recommit this group of Senate bills. If there's no questions. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Okay.
Next item, gentlemen.
Yes, so let's go to the calendar for the day. This would be item number 1, House Bill 2978. Bring it up, make the usual motion. Oh, this, yeah. The conference report. Yeah, bring up the conference report on Bill 1378 and just call it up. Recognize the gentleman from Montgomery to work this report.
Gentleman from Montgomery is recognized to explain the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, if you will, we'll go to this item number 1, House Bill 1378. This is the conference report on the district attorney and staff. The conference adopted by the following changes to LBR level of funding, a total of $145,268 total increase to LBR level of funding. There were $49,410 in salaries, health insurance increases, $95,858 in statutory salary increases. Total conference report comes in at $25,909,561. And that's an explanation of the conference report. Not any questions. I move we adopt it.
Questions on the report? I don't see any, gentlemen. Gentleman moves final passage of the conference report. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, indicate by saying aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 2 nays, the conference report passes. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 3, House Bill 1380. Call it the conference report.
Gentleman
This-
calls up the conference report. You're recognized, gentlemen.
This is the conference report on the appropriations for the State Fire Academy. The conferees adopted the following changes to the LBR level of funding for a total increase above LBR level of funding of $807,466. The total budget comes in at $5,637,174. And Mr. Speaker, that's an explanation of the conference report, and I'll answer any questions. If there are none, I move adoption.
Gentleman from Newton, Mr. Rushing, for what purpose?
Ask a question, Mr. Speaker.
You're recognized.
Well, Gentlemen, you,
Yes.
Gentlemen, can you advise what that 800,000 increase was for? What was the intent of that additional funding?
The itemization of it, gentlemen, there's $15,390 in salary and health insurance increases, $7,891 in contractual increases on the ITS charges, ITS payments, $139,010 on restoration of LBR cuts to salaries, $60,000 increased costs for new fire station dormitory. This is contractual and commodities on that, $170,000 for SCBA and turnout gear equipment purchases, $46,825 conference pay plan, and $318,350 for authority for workforce development funds. That comes in at $807,466.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate your work.
Yes, sir.
Don't see any further question.
Move adoption.
Gentleman moves adoption of the report. If you're in favor of the report, indicate by voting yes. Open a machine, Madam Clerk. We'll get it right in a minute. If you're in favor of the report, indicate by voting yes. Opposed, vote no. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas and 3 nays, the conference report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, move to item number 5, House Bill 1382, and call it up. This is a conference report on the Office of Capital Post-Conviction Counsel.
You're recognized to explain the report, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conferee adopted this following changes to the level of funding. It's a total increase to LBR level of funding of $273,394 above LBR. That adoption includes salary and health insurance increase of $2,430. Contractual increases we mentioned earlier. I think every one of these state agencies are facing these contractual increases to ITS charges, and of course, we're allowing those with every agency. There's a $40,000 restoration of LBR contractual cuts, and authority $215,258 authority. This is for money, that's funds that were not swept, that were swept in return. And includes authority to pay $265 MMRS fees. Comes in at a total of $1,760,496. And that's an explanation of the conference report. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I move adoption.
I don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, indicate by saying aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 3 nays, the conference report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, go to item number 6, House Bill 1383. Call it up. This is the appropriations for State Public Defender's Office. And this conference report comes in at $3,315,298. The conferees adopted the following changes to the level of funding, LBR level of $6,750 of salaries for health insurance increases, the contractual increases again for ITS payments, restoration of LBR cuts, and also general funds for parent defense, a subsidy, and conference pay plan. Those items total $231,459. It's a total increase to the LBR of $317,503. And if there are no questions, Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of the conference report.
I don't see any questions, gentlemen. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the gentleman's explanation of the report, adopt and indicate that voting aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 115 yeas and 2 nays, the conference report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Go to item number 8, House Bill 1385. This is the conference report on the Attorney General budget. The conference adopted the following changes to the LBR level for a total increase to the LBR level funding of $5,364,582. And that would have that agency coming in at $32,450,748. These changes to their budget included, of course, the health insurance, the ITS charges, restoration of cuts, and additional authority for case management system and protective order system. And these are contractual programs that they participate in. That contractual program comes in at $1.5 million. And that's an explanation of the conference report for the Attorney General's office.
Gentleman from Washington, for what purpose?
Question, Mr. Speaker.
You're recognized.
Jim, you?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, early on, I asked you a question in regards to how much money the Attorney General's office has spent on those different lawsuits that she's engaged in, and you assured me you would give me those figures before we took this budget up. And we were in committee when I asked that question, so I have not seen them figures yet.
Actually,
so can you tell me how much money?
Those funds are not in this budget. There's actually another bill that's coming. We have a letter with those. I'm being told that we can provide you for that, but that's not in this bill.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Don't see any further questions.
Move adoption, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay.
I've got.
Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 107 yeas, 9 nays, the conference report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, go to item number 9, House Bill 1386. Recognize the gentleman from Harrison to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Harrison is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to call up House Bill 1386, and
You're recognized to explain a report, gentlemen.
thank you. This is appropriation of archives and history, and they've gone down a little bit from last year. They've gone from 19,052,000 to 18. Well, my glasses are not working. 696. The reason for that is the Flag Commission, that has gone away. We do not need it anymore. So again, their budget comes in at $18,696,000.
Questions on the report? I don't see any, gentlemen. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 113 yeas, 6 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next one is actually House Education, but it's a dummy bill, and I just think it's real inappropriate to call the education bill a dummy bill. Okay, recommitted it now.
Yeah, we've already dealt with that dummy bill, gentlemen.
Okay.
Got here.
The next one is House Bill 1388. I'd like to bring up the conference report for that, please. That's ETV.
You're recognized to explain a report.
What it is, this one goes from $12,150,000 from last year to $12,902,000 this year. Again, we have the pay raises in there, and we have the insurance that we're paying across the board for all our employees, and so theirs comes in at $12,902,000. If there's no questions, I ask for final adoption.
Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott, for what purpose?
I want to ask the gentleman a question.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentlemen, you said there was some money in here for raises. Are all of the state employees?
Yes, ma'am, that's 3% for all employees.
So this is a 3% across all
All agencies, yes. And
Okay.
and the insurance for all agencies is in there also.
Okay, thank you.
Don't see any further questions, gentlemen. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 97 yeas, 22 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
The next one is 1389. This is the appropriations of the Arts Commission. And again, their numbers has gone up also a little bit, and it comes in at $2,691,000. And again, that is pay raises and insurance also, and their budget also that we're paying across the board. And if there's no questions, I'd ask for final adoptions of the Arts Commission.
Don't see any questions. The gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 112 yeas, 9 nays, the conference report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Okay, the next one is House Bill 1390. This is appropriation for the Library Commission. Again, it comes in at $12,501,000. Same as I've already repeated, it does include the pay raises and the insurance. There's no questions. I ask for final adoption.
Questions on the report? I don't see any. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay.
I guess we're not skipping. We're skipping.
Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted?
Can I skip?
Close the machine,
Can I
Madam
skip
Clerk.
down? Can I skip
By a vote of
down?
116 yeas, 4 nays, the
Can I
report
skip
is
down to MEMA
adopted.
since it's going good?
I don't know.
Next item, gentlemen.
I don't think, no, it's in the Senate. No, we have to go down right now.
Next one, gentlemen. John.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 14, Senate Bill 13, House Bill 1391. Recognize the gentleman from Jackson to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Jackson is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 1391 is our reappropriation bill for the Bureau of Buildings. Bureau of Buildings is part of the Department of Finance and Administration. What we're doing here is just reauthorizing the expenditure of funds that were appropriated in the past for projects that were approved last year but not completed. And that's an explanation of the bill.
That's the gentleman's explanation. I don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report.
Yes.
If you're in favor of the, open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 2 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Let's go to item 15, House Bill, I think it's 1392. I recognize the gentleman from the show to explain the conference report.
That one's been recommitted.
Have we not
No, this was,
I don't have it.
I believe those have been recommitted, gentlemen.
That has been recommitted. Okay, let's go to item 17. It'd be House Bill 1394. Bring it up, explain.
Gentleman from the show is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the appropriation for the Grand Gulf Military Monument, little gym over there in Port Gibson. Comes in at $431,147, which is $124,327 above LBR, includes health insurance, what little small ITS, and raises, and they will want a new pickup truck, and we bought them a new pickup truck too. So that's final action on Grand Gulf, Mr. Speaker.
I don't see any questions, gentlemen. If not, open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 111 yeas, 5 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to item number 18, House Bill 1395. This is the appropriation for the Oil and Gas Board. It comes in at $2,282,847. This is $87,448 above LBR. Of course, obviously, the pay raise, health insurance, ITS. That's the conference report, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman's explanation. I don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 2 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, item number 19, House Bill 1396. This is the appropriation for the Public Service Commission. Let me get to my notes here. Okay, it comes in at $4,848,588, which is $260,854 above LBR. Again, the pay increase, health insurance, ITS, and I do want to add one thing. They had requested an additional $287,000 to purchase new hardware, machinery, or computers or whatever for the no-call telemarketing system. We have awarded that to them at $287,000, and that is the conference report on the Public Service Commission and the no-call telephone solicitation.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 3 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're going to go to item number 20, House Bill 1397. This is the appropriations for the public utility staff. Comes in at $2,597,348, which is $584,980 above LBR. Of course, obviously the health insurance, the ITS, and that's it, Mr. Speaker.
Don't see any questions on the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, indicate by voting aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 3 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Let's go to item number 24, be House Bill 1401. Recognize the gentleman from Pike to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Pikes recognized to explain the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is item number 24, House Bill 1401. This is the conference report for the Department of Health. And before I explain it very quickly, I just want to thank the leadership of the Department of Health for all of their hard work the last year and a half. Many, as you know, all of our state government, our state agencies have stepped up during this pandemic. But I would tell you that Dr. Dobbs, Jim Craig, and their leadership team at the Department of Health have done an outstanding job. It's been an honor to work with them on a daily basis and see all the hard work they've been putting in. And I would tell you that I would put our leadership team at the Department of Health against anybody else's around the nation of how they've handled this pandemic. And so I just wanted to, I know y'all feel the same way that I do, and I want to thank them for their service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, the Department of Health's budget is final action of $62.7 million, which last session was $60.7 million, so it's almost a $2 million increase. Again, with the 3% pay raise, with the ITS language. They also received some capital expense money for some computers. We restored last year and the year before's LBR cuts. And so overall, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very good, sound budget for the Department of Health. And so that is an explanation of the report, Mr. Speaker.
Don't see any questions, gentlemen. He moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 113 yeas, 6 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to item number 25, would be House Bill 1402. Recognize the gentleman from Walthall to explain the bill. Excuse me, conference report.
Gentleman from Walthall, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. Item 25 is House Bill 1402 is a conference report for the Board of Registry for Foresters. Final action on it is $44,129. That's $202,384 over LBR. That's the explanation.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas, 2 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's go to item number 26, House Bill 1403. And this is appropriation for the Forestry Commission. The final action on the Forest Commission is $26,054,498. That's $346,000 above the LBR. That's the explanation.
Gentlemen, anything in this bill about pecans?
There may be a pecan tree or two that gets cut by the Forest Commission, but they're very selected on what they cut.
Thank you, gentlemen. I don't see any other questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 3 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's go to item 27, House Bill 1404. This conference report on the Soil and Water Conservation Commission. 1404 comes in final action of $8,370,003. That's $105,298 over the LBR.
I don't see any questions, gentlemen. He moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas, 3 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, item number 28, House Bill 1408. Recognize the Vice Chairman from Montgomery to explain the bill.
Gentleman from Montgomery is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conference report on Tom Bigby River Valley Water Management District. The conferees adopted the following changes to the LBR level of funding. There's a total increase to the LBR level of funding of $189,341. This includes restoration of cuts, authority for health insurance, and additional authority for continuing equipment needs of the district. And the total budget comes in at $8,833,401. And that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker. I'll be happy to answer any questions. If not, I move adoption.
Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 2 nays, the report's adopted. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to item number 29, House Bill 1410. Recognize the gentleman from Pontotoc to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Pontotoc, you're recognized.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman,
I'd like to go to item 1410 and call it up, please, sir.
You're recognized to explain a report, gentlemen.
Thank you. This is the conference report for the PERS administrative budget. It comes in at $19,603,302. I'll tell you the difference between that and the LBO offering. The conferees adopted the following changes to the IBR level of funding. $557,468 is restoring LBR cuts, $124,961 allocated for employee pay increases, $82,000 for reclassifications, educational benchmarks, $42,390 for health insurance, $27,198 for MRS charges, and the total increase from the LBR is $848,720. In addition, you might remember in the past, we've always had to address the difference in the construction part of what is done there, and the maintenance and the air conditioning, and the computer work. And that now has been put in the budget with the rest of the PERS items here. And let's see, the agency is requesting $82,476 in additional compensation for classifications and educational benchmarks, which I think we have already mentioned. Mr. Speaker, I can yield for any questions.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Madam Clerk, open the machine.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, gentlemen. Further explanation?
We have a reverse repealer on here. We want to set it up.
There's no reverse repeat.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, y'all.
Gentleman moves adoption of the report. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 2 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies in the House, let's go to item 46, be Senate Bill 2917. Recognize the gentleman from Harrison to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Harrison, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Senate Bill 2917. It's the Emergency Management Agency budget. As you know, it's a fluid budget every year, and it's because FEMA money may come in or may not, but it's basically the same as last year. It's coming in at $40,219,000, down a little bit because we're not going to need as much PPE this year, so it's just down a little bit. There's no questions. I ask for final passage or adoption.
Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott, for what purpose?
I want to ask him a
You're
question.
recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the gentleman here,
Yes.
gentlemen, I heard you say that you all were reducing the Emergency Management Agency's appropriation. Let me ask you, are there any dollars in the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency's budget to clean churches? Since we have taken a position, particularly the governor, to encourage people to get back in their churches. And on last year, there were dollars available to clean churches. Is there anything in this budget to clean churches?
No, lady, there's not. And if they haven't cleaned the churches by now, they're a little late, but...
Gentlemen, I'm talking about for COVID.
But that's CARES Act money. It's not MEMA money, and there's quite a bit of money coming down to the individual cities and counties also, and to the state, but we haven't appropriated any of that.
Okay, but I'm just asking you.
No, there is none.
So the state of Mississippi does not feel that we should have, since we are encouraging our citizens to go back into their churches, that we didn't think we should have put a little bit of money in there to help assist these churches clean?
No,
so
lady,
that they would not be...
there is none in this, there was none in it, and there was none requested.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't see any further questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 4 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lady in the House, let's go to item 49. That would be Senate Bill 2920, and recognize the lady from MIT to explain the conference report.
Lady from Amit, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, this is the conference report for the Ethics Commission, and the final action is $614,890. And the conferees adopted the following changes: $1,620 in general funds for salaries for the health insurance increase, $1,527 for general fund contractual increase for ITS payments, $12,500 in general fund restoration of LBR cuts, $8,000 in general funds for agency operations, and $7,646 in general fund for the conference pay plan, for a total, for $31,293 total increase to the LBR level of funding. And that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker. I move final passage if there, or adoption of the conference report, pardon me, if there are no questions.
Don't see any questions, lady. The lady moves adoption of the conference report. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 2 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies in the House, let's go to item number 50. That'd be Senate Bill 2921. Recognize the Vice Chairman from Montgomery to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Montgomery is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conference report on Judicial Performance Commission, Senate Bill 2921. The conferees adopted the following changes to the LBR level of funding of increase of $89,456 above level funding, comes in at a total of $654,884. These changes to the LBR were, of course, salary, health insurance increases, ITS charges, restoration of cuts, vacant pens, and conference pay plan. And that's an explanation of the conference report. Mr. Speaker, if there are no questions, I move adoption.
Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas, 3 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies in the House, let's go to item number 53, Senate Bill number 2924. Recognize the gentleman from Neshoba to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Neshoba is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the conference report on the Board of Tax Appeals. Comes in at $522,777, which is $25,284 above LBR. Obviously, the health insurance, the ITS, the other things that have been in every other conference report, and that's the report on the Board of Tax Appeals.
Don't see any question. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. A vote of 118 yeas, 2 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We'll go to item number 54, Senate Bill 2925. This is the appropriation for the Workers' Compensation Commission. Final action on this is $5,444,686, which is $308,730 above LBR, the health insurance, the ITS, the other things, again, that we are putting in the other appropriation conference reports, Mr. Speaker, and that is the Workers' Compensation Commission.
Don't see any question. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay.
Yes, sir.
Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 119 yeas, 2 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, on item number 55, this would be Senate Bill 2926. I recommend that we need to recommit this bill. There was a section that was not done correctly, and I need to recommit this bill.
Gentleman moves to recommit this conference report. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Let's go to item number 56. This will be Senate Bill 2927. I recognize the Vice Chairman Montgomery to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Montgomery, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House, this is the Office of State Aid Road Construction. Senate Bill 2927. The conference report comes in at $903,988 increase over LBR. These again are the salary increases for reclassifications for 7 pins approved by the State Personnel Board, 3% conference pay plan, and health insurance. Total budget comes in at $195,514,836, and that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 5 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Next item will be number 58, Senate Bill 2937. Recognize the gentleman from Harrison to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Harrison is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is Senate Bill 2937. This is the appropriation for the Mississippi Gaming Commission, and their budget comes in at $9,195,945. And that is their budget. If there's no questions, I ask adoption.
Don't see any questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. If you're in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 113 yeas, 8 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, let's go to item number 61, Senate Bill 2945. Recognize the gentleman from Walthall to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Walthall is recognized to explain the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 2945 is appropriation for Agriculture and Commerce, Fair and Coliseum Commission. The final action is $201,540. That's 5,000 over LBR. That's an explanation of conference report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 112 yeas, 5 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Later in the House, go to item number 62, be Senate Bill 2946. Recognize the gentleman from Montgomery, the Vice Chairman, to explain the conference report.
Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House. This is the conference report on the Department of Audit. The department comes in at a total of $249,573. That is a total increase of $3,692,483 above LBR level of funding. This increase includes $594,099 of general funds, $50,000 capital expense funds, and $3,048,384,000 in special funds. And that's an explanation of the conference report. Move adoption.
Don't see any questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, indicate voting aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 112 yeas, 2 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, move to item number 63, Senate Bill 2947. This is the conference report on the Department of Banking and Consumer Finance. It comes in at $11,517,996. It's a total increase of LBR level of funding of $1,397,353. These increases include reclassification of staff positions, insurance, ITS, restore LBR target level of fund, and travel increases. And that's the explanation of the conference report on the banking and consumer finance. If there are no questions, I move adoption.
Don't see any question. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 113 yeas, 4 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and House, let's go to item number 66. That would be Senate Bill 2950. Recognize the gentleman from the show, but explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Neshoba, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, Senate Bill 2950 is the conference report on ITS. Comes in at final action $53,252,321. This is $9,146,411 above LBR. So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason this one is so upped over most everything else, you've heard these conference reports being explained that these ITS charges, ITS is having to cover for those charges. This $9 million over is coming in as special funds. It's coming from these other agencies and the monies we appropriated. So it's money's coming into that to cover that. That's why their final action is up, is to cover those costs that are coming in as special funds from the other agencies. Other than that, they do have the health insurance, the pay raise for their employees, and that's the conference report for ITS.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 114 yeas, 3 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Next item, Mr. Speaker. Ladies of the House, will be item number 68, Senate Bill 2952. I'd like you to recognize the gentleman from Calhoun to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Calhoun, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, this is the conference report for the Personnel Board. It is it's coming in at $4,308,971. That's $349,995 above LBR, and it's an increase of $189,271 over last year. And there's, just so you know, there is one more pen than there was last time. There's 41 employees, and there were 40 last year. That's the explanation.
You've heard the gentleman's explanation. I don't see any questions. Open machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the conference report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas, 4 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Next item will be number 70, Senate Bill 2954. I'd like to recognize the gentleman from Montgomery, Vice Chairman, to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Montgomery, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the House. This is the conference report on the State Treasurer's Office. This budget comes in at $5,703,711, and this is $413,369 above LBR level of funding. It includes funding in salaries for conference pay plan, 3%. Y'all are aware of that. Salaries for restoration of pens, loss of pens, an accountant auditor that deleted in the past fiscal year. Health insurance, ITS pass-throughs, new communication and marketing contract, and contractual service for increase in DFA MMRS charges. And that's an explanation, Mr. Speaker, of the conference report. If there are not any questions, I move adoption.
Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott, for what purpose?
Ask him a question.
You recognize.
Thank you. Gentlemen, this marketing contract services that the treasurer's office is asking for additional monies for, do you have any idea what it is that they are marketing at the treasurer's office?
Lady, I'm being told that's the impact, the college prepaid tuition, different things that they're advertising for, making the public aware of.
And
That are available to the
These
public.
programs are pretty old. I was just concerned about the amount of money, but thank you. I mean, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Unclaimed properties, there's several other items in that they're making the public aware of in an effort to get that money back to them.
And of course, we're doing that online and everything else. We're just trying to see.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't see any further questions. Gentleman he moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 4 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, move to item Senate Bill 2955. That's the appropriation for the debt service, bond and interest payments. The conference adopted the following changes: $2,636,805 debt service. That's principal and interest payment. Fiscal year 22, that total comes in at $504,702,680, and that is an explanation of the conference report. Yield for questions. If not, move adoption.
Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott. She passes. Don't see any questions, gentlemen. He moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 2 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On item number 72, Senate Bill 2956, I would like to keep its place on the calendar. We're going to not work that one today.
Gentleman's requested to skip that item and retain its place on the calendar. I think it'll be the only item on that calendar, gentlemen.
Well, we have some more coming tomorrow now. You know
Maybe
that.
so.
Okay.
Well, we got faith in you. Gentleman from Adams, Mr. Johnson.
I have a question for the chairman. Gentleman, yield.
Be glad to, sir.
Just for, I mean, I kind of know the answer, but I want to make sure that we understand it completely. There have been, assertions that there have been, some agencies have gotten 5,000 or whatever the number is above LBR. Is there a general explanation as to why there's a bump in some agencies and there isn't in others in terms of being above LBR?
Most everyone is above LBR.
Right.
We had a little, but there are some critical needs in some of the agencies that we hadn't ignored, and we maybe bumped them up a little bit. But it's not for personal gains or anything.
Oh, no, I didn't think that. I just wanted to make sure.
No, we're trying to look after all agencies, and some maybe got hurt. No, we cut them a little bit more, but we're trying to get everybody on a level playing field, gentlemen.
And so what you're describing is a situation where there have been years when some people have been at a deficit.
Yeah,
and now you're bringing them back a little bit.
That's right. On last year, I think on the average was 5%, some were 2%, some were 6%,
I got you.
So on the average, so some have been lower, so we've gone back and tried to address critical needs in some of these agencies. That's basically what the difference is.
Is that true also about pay? Because we didn't do across the board state employees pay raises, but there are some agencies where employees did get raises. Is that correct? Are there some?
Yes. Last year they didn't. This year, all state agencies are getting a raise. Employees. We're trying to work on that. It's going to be around up to 3% on and it's going to start January 1 through June of next year.
And so it's going to be a uniform 3%. Okay. All right. And it wouldn't be different.
Up to 3%.
Up to 3%. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, some people have got raised, some haven't, so we're trying to get the 3%. Okay, you understand?
I got you. Yeah, I understand. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, sir. Back to.
Gentlemen, that's the end of your in-conference appropriations. You want to go to the general bills appropriations in conference?
We don't have it prepared at this time. We will, but appropriation yields the floor.
Thank you, gentlemen. We are down to the in-conference Ways and Means calendar. Chairman of Ways and Means, I recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Real quick, we're going to go to items 27 and 28 on that calendar. Senate Bills 2895 will be the first one, and the motion is to recommit for further work.
Y'all have heard the motion. I don't see any questions. Gentleman's motion is to recommit. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. The ayes have it.
The same motion for item 28, Senate Bill 2971, motion to recommit.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman's motion is to recommit 2971. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Anything further, gentlemen? Ways and Means yields the floor. Is anything to be taken up in conference and general bills calendar? Gentleman from Grenada, Mr. Haran. He passed. You recognize, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'd like to take up, let's see, get the item number. Okay. Item 29, HB 1312. This bill reenacts the Cosmetology Board and extends the repealer until 2024, July 1st, 2024. We did make some adjustments on it. We've been working with the attorneys from the Attorney General's office. We finally got a litigator who is in charge of some of the cases that are looming right now that this bill can alleviate. So we've gotten in touch with them and we put the wording in there that they requested for that bill.
Okay.
One of the other things it does, though, is it removes the practices of makeup artistry, threading, and applying and removing eyelash extensions from having to have a license. I'll just answer questions if there's any other questions.
Lady from Pearl River, for what purpose?
Okay.
You
Question, Mr.
recognize,
Speaker.
lady.
Thank you. Gentlemen, will you yield?
Yes, will.
This doesn't have anything to do with my massage therapist in this bill, correct?
It does not.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Not auctioneers either, sir.
Gentleman from Tallahatchie, Mr. Reynolds.
Mr. Chairman, now this, of course, has the support of the members of the cosmetology, the present members of the Cosmetology Board.
And we went right along with what their attorney wanted, so as far as I know, this is what they
And it
want.
would, okay, all right.
Don't see any further questions, gentlemen. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report on House Bill 1312. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. I'm going to recognize the gentleman from Grenada next to present his bill, and then after that, we will go in order. I see there are several chairmen now that want to do conference reports, so we'll be in order after this one. I'll go back and start at 1 after this. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call up item 15, House Bill 747, offer the report for House adoption.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, I didn't close the machine on the last vote. I'm getting ahead of myself here. By a vote of 108 yeas, 9 nays, the conference report on House Bill 1312 is adopted. You're recognized now, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 15, House Bill 747, I call it up and ask the House to consider for adoption the conference report.
You're recognized to explain it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is House Bill 747, which basically comes from the Rankin County Contingency. It's a pilot program for workforce training in Rankin County. There were some concerns from State Public Defender's Office as well as some other stakeholders in this. We got that most of the concern, well, all the concerns worked out. It does have a one-year repealer on it. We're kind of doing it as a pilot program to see if it can be advanced to other counties. Hopefully, we can get everything worked out next year. We're going to get Department of Corrections a little more involved in it after we get this thing moving along. That's the explanation of the conference report.
Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines. For what purpose?
Question, Mr. Speaker.
You recognize.
Gentleman yield? Certainly.
So, did y'all there was some concerns about inmates working and being paid, but the money was not going to them or being saved, or it was almost like a form of indentured servitude.
Well, there were some concerns about that. The sheriff of Rankin conference with ACLU and also Public Defender's Office, and moving forward, I think that this particular conference report is going to address that, and there's peer language in here for them to look at that and present a report to the committee.
Is anybody being compensated for those people working for free? That's the best way for me to answer that question.
No, nobody's being compensated for people working for free. The inmates are being compensated for working. There was some concern about the percentage of compensation that the inmates were receiving as a result of their work. But all those have been, according to the director at ACLU and as well as State Public Defender's Office, those concerns have been addressed in the conference report.
So you want to tell us a little more about that than just saying, they're not in this body, we are.
I understand.
We need to vote on this, so you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
It says in here that the sheriff shall adopt the rules and publish rules and regulation prior to accepting inmates. And my understanding is that ACLU and State Public Defender's Office is going to be instrumental in adopting those rules, gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Brown. For what purpose?
Gentleman, yield, please.
Certainly.
I have two concerns about this matter. Number one, what counties and jurisdictions will be selected to have the opportunity to implement this program?
The only
will it be open to every state? I mean, every county in the state?
It is not, gentlemen. It's Rankin County only at this time.
And may I ask why? I'm sure that's needed statewide.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That was a concern of mine, that I did not want 82 counties operating 82 different ways. Currently, Rankin County has a work program, and since they were already in place, this bill came from the Rankin County contingency. Therefore, they're the ones that moved it along, had the conferences with the ACLU as well as Public Defender's Office, and worked out the details. I was not in favor of moving the legislation until those concerns got worked out. But basically, it's a pilot program with a one-year repealer. Now, gentlemen, if it works out, I'm going to tell you that I've talked with Commissioner Kane and other people that I hope that we can move this statewide for every county. I think it's a good idea that we can do this.
Well, gentlemen, I'm glad you added the word pilot. That makes it a little more understandable for one county at this time.
Yes.
Second question is, when you got workforce development, who's going to be training them? I'm sure the sheriff department can't actually train these inmates.
Well, they're not
workforce development involves training as well.
There's not going to be, in a period of a year, gentlemen, not going to be a whole lot of training. This is just going to be working for us to go out into the community. And one of the main concerns that I had was to make sure that these individuals were going to be getting prevailing wage. And my understanding is there's commitment that prevailing wage language will be in the rules and regulations. That's the explanation.
Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott.
Gentlemen, I just want to ask you, now, you indicated that Rankin County was farther along in this process than others, and I do know that there are other counties that have some sort of work release. I guess my question to you is, for those of us that's not on corrections or not on Judiciary B, Was there any other way, for instance, like a county like Jones County that would have been interested in a program like this? That we could have been.
I'm not familiar with any other counties having the type program that Rankin has. No other contingencies come to me and ask that we move forward on this type of legislation.
Okay, so my final question.
Sure.
Will any state dollars be used to advance this program?
Not
Or will
enhanced,
Rankin County be totally responsible?
totally responsible for it, other than the money associated with the peer report. That's only state dollars.
Okay, well, how much is that?
I don't know. We don't, until the report comes in. It's not, I mean, they're going
Okay,
to,
so we're doing something that we don't know what it's going to cost.
lady, I'm not saying that we're not giving them any money.
Okay.
I insisted that the peer language be in there as well as other language to make sure if we're going to move forward for 82 counties, we're going to be doing it the correct way.
Okay, so, but probably there would not be any state dollars.
There's no money, Rankin County's not getting any money to advance this program, no ma'am.
And we're not using anything from corrections to advance this program?
No ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't see any further questions,
I
gentlemen.
move for adoption.
Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 110 yeas, 4 nays, the report is adopted. We will go back and start at the beginning of the in-conference general bills, and I'll run through those. Chairman's got one. The first one is item number 1, Chairman of Universities and Colleges. You're recognized, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go to House Bill 82 in conference and general bills and call it up and yield to the gentleman from Jones to present it, please.
Gentleman from Jones, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker. On conference report on House Bill 82, basically this is a bill that we passed several weeks ago talking about that the community colleges and junior colleges would be eligible to get up to $1 million in emergency funding for repairs. The Senate put a reverse repealer in there, and the committee, we removed that reverse repealer, and if there's any question, no further questions, I'd like to move for final passage.
Don't see any questions. The gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 118 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Brings us to item number 2. It's Bill 104. He passes. Item number We're down to item number 6. That's House Bill 330 on uninsured motorists. Chairman's recognized. You don't have one.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I'd like to go to item number 6, House Bill 300, the conference report, called up and make the usual motion.
You're recognized to explain the report, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this originally, the House bill prevented somebody from basically recovering twice from the same claim. I think we passed it just about unanimously. It went over to the Senate. They put an they put a reverse repealer in it to give us more time, or to give the Senate more time to take a look at it. Mr. Speaker, they took that out, and thus we have the conference report.
Questions on the report? I don't see any, gentlemen. He moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, indicate by voting aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 115 yeas, 1 nay, the report's adopted. Anything further, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, if there's no objection, we'd like to go to item number 42, Senate Bill number 2623, which is the another insurance committee report, if that's okay.
Don't see any objection, gentlemen. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please recognize the gentleman from Rankin to handle the conference report.
Gentleman from Rankin is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing the conference report does is removes the reverse repealer out of this bill, and that's it. That's a report.
I don't see any questions, gentlemen. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report on Senate Bill 2623. If you're in favor of the report, open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 111 yeas, 5 nays, the report's adopted. Insurance yields. Brings us to item number 7. Judd B. Passes. Item number 8. Chairman of Municipalities. You're recognized, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to go to item number 8, House Bill 359. Bring up the conference report.
You're recognized to explain the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Conference report on House Bill 359. There was a lot of hard work put into this conference report. It dealt with cities with a population of 150,000 or more, establishing a program whereby they can attempt to collect overdue water bills and also put those bills that are uncollectible in a separate classification as to not to hurt the indebtedness of that municipality. In conference, there was an agreement to include the Public Utilities Commission would have an input on this program being administered, and there is a 1-year repealer on this program. There'll be a report furnished to the legislature, my committee, and the Senate and the House as to the success and ongoing procedure of this program during the next year, and it will be effective upon passage. And that's the explanation of the conference report.
You've heard the gentleman's explanation. I don't see any questions.
Move final passage.
Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 121 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Wildlife.
Mr. Speaker, if I can, I'd like to address another conference report under my committee, number 34, Senate Bill 2261.
Yes, sir. You're explaining. You're recognized to explain now.
I'd like to move to recommit.
Gentlemen's moved to recommit item number 34, Senate Bill 2261. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentleman from Wildlife, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go to the conference report on number 9, House Bill 382, and make a motion to recommit that bill. Got a little technical work that needs to be done.
Gentleman moves to recommit House Bill 382. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Anything further?
Unanimous consent. Can we go to item number 30, Senate Bill 2035, and bring up the conference report?
You're recognized to explain a report, gentlemen.
All right, Senate Bill 2035 comes to us today. What we did in the conference report is obviously remove the reverse repealer, but we really spent that time to prescribe the uses and seasons for a pre-charged pneumatic weapon. That's an explanation of the conference report.
Gentleman from Choctaw, for what purpose? You recognize, gentlemen.
Gentleman, you.
Yes, sir.
Does this allow the use of air bows?
It does during prescribed season. It excludes them from use for migratory birds, turkey. They are allowed under small game seasons for small game and for primitive weapon during big game.
So for deer, so all the archery hunters in the state of Mississippi are now going to be competing with bows that are shot with air.
That's correct.
So have you heard from the Archery Association in the state of Mississippi on this bill?
Numerous times.
And what is their position?
They didn't wholeheartedly embrace it, but we discussed this last year, and we've changed this somewhat to make it more palatable for them this year.
So beginning October the 1st, then a person that archery hunts can have an individual that's sitting out there beside them with an air bow. Is that correct, gentlemen?
When you say sitting out there, I'm not sure, gentlemen, where you're referring to.
Well, the archery guy can sit in his climber stand and shoot a maximum of 35 yards, but someone with an air bow can sit out there and shoot a maximum of about 100 yards. So are you telling me that an individual that shoots an air bow is going to have an advantage over an archery hunter during that season?
Well, gentlemen, what I will tell you is I may be a better shot than you because I can shoot about 60 yards with my crossbow. But be that as it may, airbow is going to be legal during the prescribed season. Yes, sir.
So you're going to allow airbows to compete against archery at the same time?
We're going to extend the use of the weapon. Yes, sir.
And so you're telling this body here today that when we go home, we're not going to have any archery association that comes up here and says, why did you vote for that airbow and let it compete with an archery hunter?
No more so than they did previously with crossbow.
But gentlemen, I filed this bill about a year ago, and I was going to limit that for individuals that are disabled, like individuals that were in wheelchairs that couldn't pull a bow back. But so you're telling me right here, if I vote for this bill, no archery hunter is going to be mad at me?
Nobody gets mad at the gentleman from Choctaw.
Thank you, Jay. I just want to make sure I know what I'm voting on, because I thought last time this bill came up, it was going to not be during archery season, but during like the primitive gun weapon season. But you're telling me it's going to be October the 1st, it's fair game for airbow?
Yes, sir, gentlemen. What I'm telling you is I took your original bill with due consideration. We've worked on it a couple of years. We made it a lot more palatable. And yes, sir, that's what I brought to you today.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman from Montgomery, for what purpose?
Question, Mr. Speaker.
You recognize.
Gentleman, you yield for a friendly question.
Carefully.
Gentlemen, would it be fair to say that the manufacturers of these air guns, these air bows, do not contribute tax dollars toward to the state, to wildlife management, in the same manner that weapons manufacturers, ammunition manufacturers contribute?
Yes, sir. That has been
the tax dollars on those products.
Pardon me, didn't mean to interrupt your question. Yes, sir. That has been the biggest focus on this, allowing the use of this new weapon, is their contribution to the PR trust fund. That has been the number one drawback. Now, at this point, they've got application for the PR, but as you know, that requires congressional action, and we're not capable of giving that. So there's application in right now to get that done. And reluctantly, we're going to go ahead and bring that bill forward this year. I do have some assurances that they are going to be part of that trust fund moving forward.
So we're going to go ahead and grant them the authority to sell this equipment, to use this equipment in the state, yet they're not approved to do that, and they claim that they're trying to move towards that process. Is that right?
That's what I submit to you.
So we're going to give them permission before they do it, not knowing whether they will or they're not. They're not going to do it.
Well, once again, I've got assurances they've got those applications made and the congressional action is pending, so.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Gentleman from Tishomingo, Mr. Carpenter, for what purpose?
Question.
You recognize.
Gentleman, you yield.
Of course.
Would you entertain a motion to recommit this for further work?
Absolutely.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a motion.
State your motion.
I'd like to make a motion to recommit this bill for this conference report for further work.
Do you wish to explain the motion, gentlemen?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I would like to see this go back for further work, that we can all be able to vote for this.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to respond to the gentleman's motion?
That's a carefully crafted argument. I appreciate that. But I don't take any of this lightly, and I would endorse that. I think we probably need to work on this further. It's something that I bring to you somewhat reluctantly, but I agree that some work needs to be done to this. So, motion to recommit.
Gentleman from Tishomingo's motion to recommit. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Anything?
Wildlife rest.
Wildlife rest. That brings us down to item number 12, Marine Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to call up the conference report for item 12, House Bill 594.
You're recognized to explain a report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this bill deals with the ordinary high mark for DMR. They requested that we make some changes to the code to streamline the permitting process, and we did that. We took this to conference to talk with the Secretary of State's office and make sure there was no conflicts. We're satisfied there's not, and that being the case, I would move for adoption.
Don't see any questions. The gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 1 nay, the report's adopted. That brings us down to education, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to call up House Bill 754 and yield to the gentleman from Lamar to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Lamar, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The conference report for House Bill 754, this is a dyslexia awareness bill. It simply adds the training back into the bill. The Senate took it out. It was our House position on the bill we voted on in the House to have the training piece in the bill. So this report simply adds that back in. And that's the explanation of the report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 121 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted.
Mr. Speaker, if there's no objection, I'd like to skip to item number 25. It's House Bill 1179.
You're recognized to explain the report.
House Bill 1179 is the William Winter and Jack Reed Teacher Loan Repayment Program. Again, this bill passed the House and the Senate, and we made a few minor changes just to limit the number of applicants eligible each year, limit that to 150. We adjusted the loan amounts to provide a little additional incentive for candidates who are in critical need districts. And then we added a 3-year repealer. There's a data piece to this as well that will examine the candidates over the course of 5 years to see if this program is retaining those teachers, which is obviously the goal of the program. So the 3-year repealer will just allow us to come back and re-examine this to make sure it's being used effectively before we renew. That's a brief explanation of the bill.
Don't see any questions, gentlemen. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 114 yeas, 6 nays, the conference report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
If there's no objection, I'd like to skip ahead to item 35. That's Senate Bill 2267.
You're recognized to explain that report.
So the report for Senate Bill 2267 simply removes the reverse repealer. This is the teacher reciprocity bill that allows for reciprocity for teachers moving in with a valid license in good standing. Again, it passed out of committee with the reverse repealer. We simply took that out in conference. That's a brief explanation of the conference report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Corrections? Mr. Chairman, still here? Banking, Chairman of Banking, wish to take up?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to go to item number 23, House Bill 1077, and move to recommit.
Don't see any questions. The gentleman's motion is to recommit House Bill 1077. If you're in favor of the gentleman's motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Judd B.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Item 37, Senate Bill 2569. Conference report, all that happened was the removal of a reverse repealer. This is the one that, we've had for years, and I guess we're going to finally allow for it to pass. It is the urine bill, fake urine bill. Just creates a misdemeanor upon possession. Then it stacks that with a second one, and then if there's a third one, it can be a felony of up to 3 years. That is what's passed the House. That's what has multiple times, and like I said, we just took out the reverse repealer. So that's an explanation of the conference report, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Rankin, for what purpose? You're recognized.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Does this bill qualify for any PPP money?
Well, I was going to say something, but I better not. I don't think so.
Don't see any further questions, gentlemen. He moves adoption of the conference report on 2569. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 99 yeas and 19 nays, the report is adopted. Judd A. Item 41.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to call up the conference report for Senate Bill number 2621 and ask that you please recognize the gentleman from Smith to explain the conference report.
Gentleman from Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference report to Senate Bill 2621 as a designation from the Court of Appeals. It also adds some language concerning that the task force can seek assistance from the Mississippi College School of Law, University of Mississippi Law School, the administration office of the courts and the Mississippi Judicial College. It also makes a correction on line 36. Instead of the Mississippi Department of Human Services to the Mississippi Department of, it changes it from the Child Protection Services to the Department of Human Services. That's the explanation of the conference report.
Don't see any questions on the report. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, indicate saying voting aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 0 nays, the report is adopted. Chairman Adjournment, would you like to take up your item 45?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to call up the conference report for Senate Bill 2638, and will you please recognize the gentleman from Lee to explain the conference report?
Gentleman from Lee, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Madam Chairman. What we ended up doing on this conference report was, in the original bill, we had edited some of the, amended the part that said about perjury, but what we did, we added language that said false certification under this section shall be subject to any penalties provided by law for such. And that's my explanation of the committee report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 121 yeas, 0 nays, the report is adopted. That brings us to the end of the in-conference general bills calendar. I believe the Chairman of Ways and Means wants to go back to the Ways and Means calendar. Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We would go to item 2, House Bill 425.
You're recognized to explain a report.
Explanation of the report. This is essentially the House version of 425. This is the bill where we revised, gave some additional options to tax assessors when a property has been damaged by fire or other similar type tragedy, as far as giving the homeowner, the property owner, some tax relief when the structure no longer exists. That's an explanation of the report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Jump over to item 8, House Bill 1135.
You're recognized to explain the report.
This report is the shipped report. This is the bill that we passed, a House version and a Senate version. The last version that passed this House contained a local option for Sunday sales. That language was removed from the report, as there was some, it caused some angst amongst different parties and industries. And so we were not wanting to do damage to the bill. This is the one that has, this is the language that has passed overwhelmingly several times now, allowing the delivery, basically home delivery from package retailers. That's an explanation of the report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report on House Bill 1135. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 94 yeas, 20 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Item 11, House Bill 1296. This report, ladies and gentlemen, this is our historic property income tax credit bill. This is the bill where we worked on this entire session to try to make it a little more workable between the property owners and the developers, as well as our Department of Archives and the Department of Revenue. We feel like we have come forward with a much improved version of this program that was already popular, but it was being hindered somewhat by previous problems we had with some of the language in the law. We have not added any additional credits to it. We've just revised the way the program works, and everyone that is involved in this believes this will be a much better process going forward. That's an explanation of the report.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 114 yeas, 3 nays, the report is adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Item 12, House Bill 1356. This bill is the bill that has been before us earlier, obviously, this session. Very similar language. This is dealing with businesses who use airplanes as part of their business, and it would allow them to participate in the same way that they depreciate these assets under federal law. It just would conform to federal law going forward with those assets.
Don't see any questions. The gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 116 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Item 13, House Bill 1446. This report deals with the exempting the Back to Business grant program, as well as other federal CARES Act monies and different grants that came down this past year where different businesses received those. This just clarifies that income tax is not owed on those funds. That's an explanation of the report.
Don't see any questions. The gentleman moves adoption of the conference report on House Bill 1446. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 115 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
We'll skip over to item 20, Senate Bill 2832. This is dealing with the upholstered household furniture manufacturing job tax credit, just extending the repealer from 2022 to 2026.
Don't see any questions on the report. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 120 yeas, 0 nays, the report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Item 23, Senate Bill 2850. This bill deals with certificates of title on old vehicles. Specifically, it would allow the application upon an oath of ownership in order to receive the title on vehicles that are at least 30 years old. This bill has already passed previously this year, no new language.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the conference report on 2850. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. A vote of 119 yeas, 0 nays. Report's adopted. Next item, gentlemen.
Item 25, Senate Bill 2872. We've already passed this earlier this year. This just deals with it's a cleanup language from a qualified resort area bill from last year, wherein we required an election for this particular area. However, nobody lives in this area, so it's impossible to have an election, and we're just removing that requirement.
Don't see any questions. Gentleman moves adoption of the report. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 100 yeas, 9 nays, the report's adopted.
Ways and Means yields the floor.
Ways and Means yields the floor. That brings us down to the motion to reconsider calendar. Chairman of Local and Private.
Hello? Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to go to item number 2, Senate Bill 3086, and I'd like to reconsider the vote by which it passed for an amendment.
Gentleman moves to reconsider the vote by which 3086 passed. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We are back on that bill, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 3086 is the Lauderdale County, it's for the Lauderdale County Tourism Commission. We passed this bill a day or two ago. I think if you'll remember, I mentioned the fact that it didn't have a standard repeal date in it. It only had a 2-year repealer. I was approached to go back to our standard practice and put a 4-year repealer in it, and that's an explanation of the amendment.
Gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Reed. He passes. I don't see any questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Do we need to adopt the amendment
Yeah, we need to
first?
adopt the amendment, I'm sorry.
All those in favor of the gentleman's amendment indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Anything further on the bill, gentlemen?
No. Move final adoption.
Gentleman moves final passage on Senate Bill 3086. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the bill, then vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 110 yeas, 7 nays, the bill passes. Anything further, gentlemen? You're recognized, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We had a special local and private meeting a little earlier.
I believe the Madam Clerk has a report. You're recognized to read a report.
Report of Committee on Local and Private, Senate Bill 3088, City of Baldwin authorized to expand and operate natural gas distribution system to serve certain areas of Tippah County. Time sufficient do pass.
Gentlemen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I mentioned this yesterday. I'll mention it again. We had, this is Senate Bill 3088. It deals with the city of Baldwin, has to do with their expansion of their natural gas system. We actually passed the House bill yesterday. This was one where we had a companion bill that kind of got lost in the shuffle, so we're at the end of the session trying to get a bill passed. We went ahead and passed our bill just to get it on the calendar to make sure we didn't lose it. The Senate did take their bill up yesterday. They did an immediate release. We got it. So that's what's before us. All we're doing here is allowing the city of Baldwin to go to the Public Service Commission to get permission to provide natural gas services outside of their current jurisdiction. If you're familiar with the process, we're allowing them to go to the Public Service Commission, and at that point, they have to get a certificate of public convenience and necessity, and then they can do that. So it still doesn't bypass the Public Service Commission or anything. So that's an explanation of the bill.
Don't see any questions, gentlemen.
Move final passage.
Gentleman moves final passage. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the bill, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Reed, for what purpose? You have a question on this bill, gentlemen?
No.
Okay, let us finish this bill. I thought you were, I didn't recognize anybody for questions. Okay. We're going to close the machine on Senate Bill 3088. Close the machine, Madam Clerk. 117 yeas and 2 nays, the bill passes. Chairman yields the floor. You're recognized, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, could I have a point of personal privilege?
Yes, sir.
It was
by rule, we normally wait till the end of everything, but I think we're just about there for the day, so you're recognized, gentlemen.
Well, there was a gentleman at the well just presented a bill, and for you people, you might know, you might not know, 51 years ago today, while defending this country, he was wounded in action. It's Mr. Manley Barton. and I thank you for the response I was hoping he would get. But he is the only Purple Heart member in this body, so I think we did him good.
He's a great American. We're glad he's here with us, and he got another Purple Heart late last summer, but we're glad he slipped through that too, and he's still here with us. Anything further from any chairman? Chairman rules. Madam Clerk's got a long report. I'm going to ask if we dispense with the reading of that report. I believe these are all commending resolutions, and you may go through them, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I would submit to you that these are all commending either someone that has passed or a basketball team, football team, those kinds of things. There's nothing in here that has any controversy whatsoever. I would ask that we take the HCRs up in a block if there are no objections.
You want to read the short titles on these, gentlemen, or are you asking the body to roll with you?
Mr. Speaker, if we could vote on them, I think we have to take them up individually at HCRs, HRs separately, and so that would be two different votes.
All right, which ones do you want to call up first?
HCRs first, Mr. Speaker, and if I could list them out now.
Yes, sir, you're recognized.
HCR number 57, HCR number 59, HCR number 60, HCR number 61, and my motion is title session to be adopted.
I'm giving everybody a minute to look at those. Does anybody wish to have any of those items set aside? Gentleman from Washington, Mr. Hines.
I was just trying to get a listing of them and I couldn't find them on the computer. Let me go back and look again.
Yes, sir.
They're online, but if you want the gentleman to read the short titles, he could real quick. We can go through them.
I'd be happy to okay.
Gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Zuber.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the chairman yield?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, real quickly, you said these were all commending resolutions?
HCR is correct.
Okay, what about the one that we discussed concerning the coast issue on the fishing season?
It is in here, Mississippi Tails and Scales program.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Reed.
When you get through with this, I'd like to recommit a couple of bills.
Yes, sir, we'll get right to you after this. Anything further on the gentleman's resolutions that he's called up and blocked? He's moved final passage on these. If you're in, Madam Clerk's got them on the screen, these House concurrent resolutions. If you're in favor of the resolutions, vote aye. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. If you're in favor of the resolutions, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote no. Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? Close the machine, Madam Clerk. By a vote of 117 yeas, 2 nays, those resolutions are adopted. Next items, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If we could go to the next HRs and take those up in a block, and I'd submit to the body that same thing, that these are basically basketball teams, championships, things like that, and memorials to people. And I will go through the list of numbers here when we're ready.
Is there objection to operating under this procedure? I don't see any. I'll give you all a minute to look on the computer at the list while it's a voice vote, so we will vote.
If it's okay, I could go ahead and list the numbers out and we could take it off if that's okay, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, gentlemen, you're recognized to do that.
Thank you. All right, HR number 64, HR number 65, HR number 66, HR number 67, HR number 68, HR number 69, HR number 70, HR number 71, HR number 72, HR number 73, HR number 74, HR number 75, HR number 76, HR number 77, HR number 78, HR number 79, HR number 80, HR number 81, HR number 82, HR number 83, HR number 84, and HR number 85.
Is that all of them, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
All right, the gentleman moves adoption of all of these House resolutions. If you're in favor of the resolutions, indicate by saying aye. If you're opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolutions are adopted. Anything further, gentlemen?
If we could have immediate release.
Any objection to the gentleman's motion for immediate release? I don't see any. That'll be granted, gentlemen.
Thank you, that's all.
We're going to suspend business here for just 1 minute. The gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Reed.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to recommit two bills. First would be House Bill 1391.
What item is that, gentlemen?
13, that would be number 14 on today's calendar. House Bill 1391. This is DFA Bureau of Buildings. Need to recommit. And the next would be number 71, Senate
Gentlemen,
Bill.
let's go back to that item 14 that you're talking about. We need to reconsider the vote whereby that passed, I believe.
Okay.
Because we've already voted on that one, so
Yeah, we need to do that so we can recommit it.
I need a motion to reconsider the vote. Is that your motion, gentlemen?
Yes.
Gentleman moves to reconsider the vote whereby we adopted the conference report. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
The motion now is to reconsider House Bill 1391 DFA Bureau of Buildings. Recommit.
Gentleman's motion is to now recommit that item 14, House Bill 1391. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Now, on item number 71, Senate Bill 2955, I'd like to consider the vote by which it passed.
Gentleman moves to reconsider the vote by which that item passed. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back on that one, gentlemen.
I make a motion that we recommit Senate Bill 2955. This is debt service. They've recommitted on the other end.
Gentleman's motion is to recommit. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Gentleman from Jackson, Mr. Barton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request?
State your request.
I'd like to get an immediate release on Senate Bill 3086.
Is there any objection? I don't see any. Gentleman from Hines, Mr. Bell.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'd like to hold HCR number 23 and HCR number 12 on the motion to reconsider, please.
HCR 23 and HCR 12.
They were on the block. They were in the block.
We'll do that.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker.
20,
Yes.
12 and 23, if you'll notify the chairman. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Gentleman from Rankin, Mr. Yancey.
Inquiry.
Yes, sir.
I think those two resolutions the gentleman wanted to hold have not been brought up.
Those two? 23 and 12? I don't think it did. 23 and 12?
We're checking, gentlemen.
We'll check on it, gentlemen. Gentleman Jackson, Mr. Reed, you got further concern?
Yes, sir, Mr. Speaker. I would like to reconsider the vote by which 1396, House Bill 1396, that would be item 19 on today's calendar. I'd like to consider the vote by which it passed to bring it back for a recommittal.
Gentleman's motion is to reconsider the vote. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're back to that bill, gentlemen. It's back before us.
I recommend that we recommit number 19 on today's calendar, House Bill 1396. This would be the Public Service Commission.
Gentleman's motion is to recommit House Bill 1396. All those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Anything further, gentlemen? Chairman of the Rules, we'd entertain a motion to recess subject to call.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we reassess subject to call.
All those in favor of the gentleman's motion indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. House is in recess.
She accidentally put them on.
Please let the House come back to order. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to return to the general calendar. We have a couple of corrections, bills, or reports that have been filed. We're going to go to, where'd my chairman go? The first one I see is item 19. You recognize, gentlemen. Hold on, gentlemen, we got it turned off. There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Item 19, call up for House consideration, the conference report on House Bill 928.
You recognize to present the report.
Thank you. What this does is authorizes the commissioner to designate an executive director, executive deputy commissioner, as opposed to a chief of staff, and it authorizes him to be paid no more than the commissioner. Also, it provides for per diem for the parole board based on some issues they've had about getting compensated for per diem that wasn't in statute. This authorizes them per diem. That's the explanation of the conference report.
Questions? I don't see any.
Move for final adoption.
Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, House Bill 928. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 108 yeas and 4 nays, the report is adopted. Next item I see is number 24. Gentlemen, HB 1174.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, appreciate it. I call up, I recognize a lady from Lincoln to explain the conference report.
Lady from Lincoln is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill I brought to you earlier is the hospice bill for inmates. And this is in the original House form. It is just saying that the Department of Corrections may provide hospice care service to inmates confined in facilities under their jurisdiction. And that's an explanation of the bill.
Questions on the report? Lady from Jones, Ms. Scott.
Thank you. Lady Yield.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, so this is different from the program where we were trying to get the Medicaid reimbursement, right?
Yes. So that is, they want to provide hospice care for patients that are dying, but they have nowhere to go. They have no family, nowhere to go. And so they just wanted to, they have to have the okay from us. It's not like a regular licensed lady. They're not billing Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance. They just want to be able to.
Oh, I'm for it, but I'm just saying this is not, because you said the original House bill, and I was thinking, so this is another bill that you're
talking about? Yes, ma'am. I'm well aware of the one you're talking about.
Thank you.
Gentleman Tallahatchie, Mr. Reynolds.
Lady, I support what your bill does, but lady, and I know you will, but would it be a good thing if we could have more of the inmates that are in this terminal condition released so that or at least they would put on the sign on their beds they were no longer a state inmate so they could qualify for Medicaid, and we could get 80+% of the care paid for by the federal government rather than having to pay 100% of it by the state taxpayers.
My understanding, sir, is these people have nowhere to go, and so as a resident of jail, they do not qualify for Medicaid.
Well, what I'm saying, if there could be a hospital, UMC or something that we could, if we could look at that, that might save us a little money.
I think we're looking at several things, gentlemen.
The lady from Pearl River, Ms. Wilkes.
Yes. Lady from Pearl River.
I'm sorry, what?
Her mic's not on.
It says it's on, try it again.
Thank you. Thank you, lady. Will you yield?
Yes.
So on this one, this is just staying in the same facility, but we're just giving them hospice care?
That's all.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
You weren't gonna be able to do what it is they trying to do anyway.
I think I'm thinking about the same bill you thinking about.
And then what y'all are trying to do, the federal government is not gonna allow you to do. Sam Mims should tell you.
All right, I don't see any further questions. Open the machine, Madam Clerk. Question occurs on the conference report, House Bill 1174. If you favor the report, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay. Has everyone voted? Closed machine, Madam Clerk. By vote 121 yeas, 0 nays. The report is adopted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have completed all the conference reports that have been filed. Does any chairman have one they wish to take up that I overlooked? All right, we need to check with our appropriations to see where they are. We'll recognize the gentleman from Activity Hall for motion to recess, subject to call.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recess subject to call with the chair.
All in favor say aye, opposed nay. Ayes have it. House in recess, subject to call. Please let the House come back to order. Ladies and gentlemen, we have evaluated where we are on the calendar and evaluated where the Senate is. We believe that we have done all we can do for the day. So we're going to adjourn until 9 o'clock in the morning. Announcements, Mr. Clerk. Announcements, Madam Clerk. Announcements by the members. Jim from Hines, Mr. Banks.
Mr. Speaker, excuse me for sitting, I'm getting ready to have surgery next week, but what's our schedule going to be for the rest of the week? Coming in, 10 o'clock?
Gentlemen, we'll be here till we get the work done.
I mean, in the morning, do you know what time we're trying to get some?
Come in at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll take up all appropriations bills that have been filed.
Okay.
Hopefully throughout the day tomorrow, we will.
Mr. Speaker, I was really speaking, not to cut you off, of Tuesday, Wednesday, we're trying to get some basketball teams in.
It's hard to say, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I mean, it just depends on how the day goes.
I know we're taking it day by day. I just asked, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Obviously, if we could get done tomorrow, that would be great. Then you've got whatever motions to reconsider that may be mentored, which would carry us into Tuesday. Conference reports have to be filed on general bills by 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll have to evaluate that on Tuesday and see where we are. So could be done as early as tomorrow, as late as Wednesday. Hard to know. Just depends on how things unfold. Lady from Pearl River, Miss Wilkes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request.
Yes, ma'am.
My seatmate was working on a bill and I voted him incorrectly, so I'd like unanimous consent to change his vote on number 8 on the appropriations from nay to yay. House Bill 1385. Montgomery, the gentleman from Montgomery.
Okay, any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Gentleman from Lafayette, Mr. Williamson.
Mr. Speaker, I'd appreciate unanimous consent to change my vote from nay to yay on item 37, Senate Bill 2569.
Any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Gentleman from Rankin, Mr. Newman.
Mr. Speaker, I request unanimous consent on the appropriations calendar number 11, House Bill 1388, to change my vote from yay to nay.
Any objection? Change the gentleman's vote. Gentleman from Activity Hall, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like unanimous consent to change my vote from nay to yay on House Bill 1386. And also on House Bill 1394, I'd like to change my desk vote from not voting to yay.
Any objection? All right, gentlemen, on the first item, any objection to changing his vote? I don't hear any. On the second item, if your desk-mate was not voted, they need to fill out that form right over there to record a vote. All right, any other announcements? Gentleman from Jackson, Chairman of Appropriations, has some.
In here, but I need all appropriations conferees to be back here at 6 or call to see if we have anything to sign. We're working hard.
All right. Anything else? I don't see any. Recognize the gentleman from Activity Hall for the motion.
Mr. Speaker, this House stand adjourned until 9 a.m. in the morning, but the journal shall remain open until the last conference report is filed, or notify the clerk that there is no report will be filed.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. House adjourned to 9 a.m. tomorrow.